Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Welcome back to ZEFE Today's Opening. In this edition, I'll be talking to Rolandas Juteika, Head of Wealth and Trading, CE at Revolut. Rolandas Juteika has over 40 years of professional experience in the banking industry, specializing in investment and brokerage products. As of June 2021, he's heading Revolut Wealth and Trading Business Division for clients in the European Economic Area, and is also CEO and Chairman of the Board of Revolut Securities Europe. Today, we'll discuss the outlook for 2024 and not only. Mr. Juteika, good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning. Thanks a lot for a pleasant introduction. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. To begin with, how was 2023 for international capital markets? If you can give us a brief perspective.
Yeah, sure. So let's start maybe from a couple of points which mainly influence the markets. So looking into 2023, I would like to mention a couple of those. So first of all, aggressive monetary policies. So actually 2023 started with low and declining expectations for global growth and heightened fears of a recession. However, China reopened after COVID. US and Europe started fiscal stimulus, started increasing rates at the pace which was never seen in the history. And actually another topics like artificial intelligence popped in, which gave additional confidence and boost to the markets, which ultimately appeared to be one of the most successful markets in history for stocks, as S&P 500 rose by 24% and, for example, Nasdaq 100 by even astonishing 54%. So this was one part. Another part, what I mentioned already, was artificial intelligence as a topic, like boost. So this topic actually became very popular and very talked about starting from last year. Such companies like NVIDIA, which are driven by the tools needed for artificial intelligence, just boosted, provided monster returns, which actually made an impact to the company itself to be added into the term called Magnificent Seven, which appeared like being as the 7 biggest technology stocks in the United States. To mention those, these are Apple, Amazon, Alphabet, Meta, Microsoft, and 2 more. On top of these, Tesla and NVIDIA. So these stocks had a great impact on the overall market by surpassing S&P 500 index by 4 times. This happened despite the situation in Europe, in the world, regarding geopolitical crisis, regarding wars. Of course, we know what is happening in Ukraine. Also the war that started in the Middle East. So despite these factors, we had quite a good year. Also this year, 2023 was amazing for Revolut as well. As a company in Europe, trading company, we started operations in March, started onboarding customers from the whole Europe, and we managed to launch many products like European stocks, ETFs, started with US stocks, and ultimately we ended up with great results and great year.
What instruments did Revolut investors turn to? Where did the best returns come from?
Of course, United States stocks are the most interesting for now because these are the most volatile. So all our active traders like them a lot. We see an increased interest in Europe among ETFs. So this is a very popular product among long-term buy and hold strategy customers. We also launched last year Trading Pro platform, especially for those active traders, professional traders, which is an additional subscription plan with advanced charting tools, advanced capabilities to do a lot more if you trade actively, with increased limits, reduced prices, and of course European stocks. We see an increasing interest in European stocks as well.
Okay. What macro outlook did we enter 2024 with? What scenarios are you working with?
So the main topics which needs to be tracked during 2024. So starting from the same thing that I mentioned is monetary policy. So users, investors need to track what will be happening with interest rates in the market and inflation. So basically, last year, the target from central banks was to decrease inflation because it was like in very high levels by increasing interest rates. So that's why we saw a huge increase boost in interest rates. So now these are peaked more or less in the United States and Europe as well. For more or less 6 months. And actually, the forecast is that at the end of this year, interest rates might start going down, which might be positive, especially for bond as a product. As you know, bonds has an inverse relationship between interest rates and price. So those who look for attractive returns might turn to bonds this year. And another part which might be tracked closely is, of course, how elections and the geopolitical situation will continue to happen in Europe. So where the war in Ukraine goes, where the war in the Middle East goes. And we will have a couple of quite important elections this year across the globe. So in April, we'll have elections in India, United States in November, and potentially also in UK. Latest call is in December. So this definitely will have might have a surprising factors for how the markets will go in 2024.
I want to ask you which markets might perform best. Where do you see potential? But you anticipated a question of mine. How should investors structure their portfolio? Stocks, bonds, commodities? So 2 questions.
Sure. So what we see in Revolut that clients turn to money market funds a lot. So we also actually launched money market funds last year, which offer attractive interest right now, like as a cash, as an investment is kind of attractive these days, right? So what I mentioned, as interest rates are peaking and with the forecast and expectations that these will start potentially to go down, bonds becoming very attractive instrument, which also are actually in our plans to launch in a couple of months. In terms of industries, so artificial intelligence is anyway, like always last year and this year, will be a #1 topic. Everybody will be very interested where this sector, this industry goes further. Also, electric vehicles would be very interesting because also on our side, one of the most popular stocks traded by active traders is Tesla and NIO. And the same story is among many different countries. So this is like of a big interest from our investors. Healthcare is another prospective sector which might have a big boost if some new developments, some new findings of new, let's say, medicine appears in the market, which is very prospective, especially combining healthcare with artificial intelligence. And like potential industry maybe which didn't perform very well last year is overall like emerging markets. So currently the evaluation of emerging markets is such that stocks there are very cheap. However, investors tend to still invest in these technology stocks from the developed markets. So emerging markets is kind of from one side forgotten. From another side, it's based mainly on, it's concentrated in energy and commodity stocks, which are still quite not attractive for investors. So these are the main trends, I think, for this year.
Okay, thank you. How many Romanian trade through Revolut?
We see a big interest from Romanian traders in Revolut. So actually, we doubled the amount of users we currently have in Revolut from Romania. And in total, I can tell this number because I think it was already shared as well by my colleagues. We have more than 300,000 investors from Romania in our platform, which that's why we're very happy, of course, and we see a really big interest coming from Romania.
So 300,000. What is the profile of the Romanian investors?
It's very similar to the average European investor. For example, if we look into the average portfolio, it's equal to European average portfolio, which is 1.7 thousand euros in euros, 1.7K. If we look into average age, it's also very similar to European, so 33 versus 34. So our average investor age is quite small, quite young. So we have like millennials on average, the most trading in our platform. If we look into males versus females percentage, again, very similar numbers. So in total, we have in proportion around 70 to 30, 70% males versus 30% females. Mm-hmm. So very similar picture across the countries, including Romania.
Do you have statistics on which investments they prefer?
Yes, I do. For example, last year, the most traded top 3 stocks was in Romania, Tesla NIO, which is a Chinese car manufacturer, electric vehicle manufacturer, and AMC. If we look into top 3 ETFs, it seems that Romanians diversify their portfolios very well. The top 3 ETFs, exchange-traded funds, were Vanguard, S&P 500, Extractors Global Inflation Linked Bond. Again, we start talking about bonds, and also iShares Treasury Bond from 7 to 10 years. So, and these were the main interest from Romanians.
Okay, at the end of the discussion, I would ask you to tell us a few points that investors should consider in the coming months.
That's a very good question. So as I mentioned, key items to consider and to look into for the next months, and I would say even for a bit longer period, is artificial intelligence sector, where it will go, because artificial intelligence is giving more and more impact to other industries like cybersecurity, semiconductors, chips. So everything is related here. So if you try to guess the next company which might be influenced a lot by artificial intelligence, like for example NVIDIA was last year, you might get like significant returns. Also interest rates. What I see and what I mentioned, that interest rates are peaking. Nothing has changed in Europe for the last 6 months. What I would propose to look into what United States are doing, because United States interest rates are a good leading indicator for Europe. So if United States starts cutting interest rates, it means that usually on the average, looking into history, Europe will start doing the same thing after a couple of months. So that might be a good indication of what might happen with interest rates, and that has a direct impact to bonds. So bonds as a financial instrument, as a security, will have and already has like a huge potential for this year.
Okay, Mr. Juteika, thank you for joining us. I hope to see you very soon.
Thank you very much for the call. Have a nice day.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the end of ZF today's opening. Rolandas Juteika from Revolut spoke to me. Thank you very much for your attention, and we wish you a profitable trading session.
Știu ce spun.
S-a încheiat întâlnirea ministrilor de interne ai Uniunii Europene.
Te pune undeva pe hartă sau nu te așează nicăieri. Nimeni nu vine să discute cu noi.
Știu ce te interesează.
Cât a costat excursia lui Iohannis?
Noi am văzut că am avut ochii închiși tot timpul ăsta. Ce contează că se termină mandatul lui Claus Iohannis?
Dacă când l-ai votat acum 4 ani, ai votat cu ochii închiși sau ce ai făcut?
Știu cum să te fac curios.
Prezentatoarea BBC i-a arătat degetul mijlociu lui Boris Johnson, a cărui știre urma să o prezinte.
Ce faci cu degetele alea? Ne gândim în octeți, în digiți, lumea să te...
Știu cum să te emoționezi.
Poți folosi inteligența artificială ca să creezi un avatar cu care alții pot vorbi după moartea ta.
Un proces prin care poți să-ți iei la revedere.
Știu să conving.
Taylor Swift a fost numită persoana anului de revista Time.
Se uită pe zone greșite. Anul 2023 n-a oferit nimic altceva decât pe cineva care a ținut un concert de 3 ore.
Știu să câștig.
Am pierdut.
Știu, deci știi.